Hey module makers! If you watched our most recent devlog, then you know that it featured a snippet of an interview with Modulus game director David, discussing the design decisions that went into making the demo, which is out now on Steam. This video is the full version of that interview, giving you a more in-depth look at what goes into creating a demo and what is to come for Modulus. Hi everybody, welcome back to the interview section of the devlog. Today we're going to learn a bit about what went into designing the demo in particular, and I am here today with our creative director, David. Hello, David.
Hi everyone. Just a quick introduction. I'm David. I'm the game director on Modulus, and I'm occupied with designing the game and just the overall vision of what it will become.
He's the busiest man ever. He's got so much to do, and yeah, is the creative vision of Modulus. When I joined recently, we had a lovely chat and I got to ask you some questions and I thought it was really interesting. So when I was tasked with doing this devlog, I was like, we need to talk to David. We need to talk to him and sort of pick your brain about different reasons why you've done things in the demo, because I found it fascinating. So I'm assuming everybody else will as well. So I've got a few questions to go through today. There are more questions that you can find in the written version of the devlog on Steam as well. So if you want an even more in-depth look at what went into the demo, what didn't go into the demo, and design decisions, make sure you check out the written version as well. But let's kick this off. So the first sort of section of questions are really around sort of core design choices that went into the demo. And the first one is, what were the key goals that you wanted to achieve with the demo?
Well, so Modulus is kind of unique on a couple of fronts, and I wanted to at least show those unique mechanics in the game, in the demo. One of the things that makes Modulus original, I think, is the fact that you have a factory game, like you all know the genre, but in this game, you can actually go inside any machine on your factory floor and have really intricate manipulations on a voxel-based shape. So every shape we call modules in the game is comprised out of different voxels, and by entering operators, you can actually decide how big you want to cut a part of a module, or you want to stamp out a piece, which color you want to give it. So it's all about complete freedom on how you design your blocks. There's no set recipes. It's just this building expects you to do this, but you can approach it in any way you like. So, and the choices you're making, the operators are kind of displayed on the factory floor as well. So there is no there's no set thing on your conveyor belts. It's all based on your decisions inside these operators, which is pretty unique, I think, in this genre.
Yeah, no, I really liked that because I like the way I set up the demo when I was playing through it, and I sort of made certain choices. I then showed to Thomas and he was like, oh, you did that, did you? And I was like, why? What did I do? But it was cool because I hadn't really thought about how different it could be. And then when I went and restarted, I did it a completely different way. And it was so satisfying to see the different choices. So yeah, I really agree. It's really unique and I love that. Okay, so the next question, were there any mechanics you initially wanted to include, but you had to cut out for the demo, and why?
Yeah, so the demo is, of course, it comes in a time in dev when you're still working on the game. So there's so many plans you have, and you have to kind of choose which things you work on first. And one of those things is actually the process of creating paint in the demo. So paint is a very interesting resource in our game because basically if you introduce a new color in a module design, you'll introduce complexity to the module as well. So if a module requires 3 different colors, it's a bit more complicated to make than if it's just a white or black or single colored module. So we kind of took a shortcut here and just made it easier for you to get to paint. But it's a bit of a shame because I really wanted to have the full mechanic in there where it's actually planned that the buildings create pigment, and then you need an extra resource like oil or a chemical to mix it into a paint, as sort of a recipe. And that would actually have like its own like a little process of how you make the actual paint. So it becomes more of there's a bit more steps in between, but we couldn't get that into the demo, unfortunately. And then another one that's going to be really a big part of the game, which we try to get in, but it didn't make it in the demo yet. Is the kind of the research you do in the game. So
Cool.
everything is kind of based on research is kind of based on how much data shards you can produce, and you deliver them, and then you can of course unlock new things and get new toys to play with. That's unfortunately also not in the demo.
But it's something to look forward to, though, right? So,
Yeah, definitely.
you know,
Yeah.
it may not be there now, but you get to play with it later on. So I like that. I like that. Okay, so next question. How does the demo reflect the overall vision for Modulus?
Well, we had a lot of plans for Modulus. We still have a lot of plans, and we're currently working on them. I kind of wanted to show like the basic mechanic of Modulus, where it's voxel-based operations and there's no set recipes, and I think that's clearly shown in the demo.
Yeah.
As you said before, you can find your own different approach on how to make a specific thing. So I really wanted to show that, but the full game will feature much more, and I feel like the demo is just the tip of the iceberg. We kind of want you to get to that feeling where you make a specific module and then you come back to it and you say like, but wait, I could have done it like that. And once
Yeah.
that feeling kind of clicks, then you kind of start understanding the scope that Modulus can be, or like the infinity you have in this gameplay. And I think I hope we show that in the right way in the demo. Just for reference, I think the demo only touches on 5% of the whole content of the game, and early access will only touch on 66% of the content of the whole game. So there's so much more in store, and I can't wait to show you all of it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like genuinely excited because like at this point I only joined like a week ago, so I've only played the demo. So even just knowing that, I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait to dive in. So you guys are you're probably gonna feel exactly the same as I do. So the next question is, what feedback from early playtests influenced last minute changes?
Okay, yeah, playtest is a big thing. We do a lot of them, and of course, there's a lot of stuff that comes out of it. We did a lot of changes, not just last minute ones, but there's a lot of changes in terms of mechanics that weren't clear, displaying information better, quality of life stuff, controls, tutorialization, and stuff like that. Was all things we're constantly working on because we value feedback from playtests a lot. We really believe that it will make the game put it in a better position. But one clear last minute change was the currency in the game. So previously, on older playtests, we had a currency in the game that in order to place an operator down or buildings, you'd have to pay for it, which makes it interesting in some way that upgraded operators would cost more. You cannot always place a building because you have to save up for it first. It's kind of like an economy that was going.
Yeah.
But after some initial play tests, it started looking like this idea or this mechanic was just being a bottleneck or a blocker in some way. So players would run out of money and couldn't place anything and had to wait. So that's definitely something we didn't want. And in the end, when we started thinking about it some more, we actually decided to remove it because it fits the game better. Modulus is supposed to be a Zen experience, and we celebrate your creativity in building, and we don't want to block you from building more and doing more and experimenting. So removing it was a bit of a big change, but it actually put the game in a better position. It's aligned more with the core design pillars of the game: Zen experience,
Yeah.
experiment, creativity. So that's why we decided to remove it.
Yeah, I never played it when it had the money in, but I can imagine how that would kind of add a level of stress, kind of like, and you don't need that. Like it's perfectly chill without it. So yeah, I can totally see why. So I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that aspect because I think it's really interesting because it's a clear choice that you made. So what challenges came with removing a traditional in-game economy?
Well, yeah, of course, some things were riding on it, like for example, being able to place operators, being able to build buildings. And one of the big things in the game is, of course, upgrading buildings. So you start out with a small building and you can make it bigger, which will mean it outputs more. It gives you more to use in the factory in your later stages of your factory. Now, if we remove the money, we kind of had a problem there because that would mean that, well, there's not really anything blocking you from upgrading all of your buildings, which would make it just a waiting game because, there's no decision to be made anymore. So it's not like, should I spend my money on this or on that? It's more of a thing like, yeah, I'm just waiting for my upgrade building. So it kind of hollowed out that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And instead, we decided actually to make it more interesting for players. So I've previously briefly talked about research, about data shards in this game. And now we tied that as well to upgrading buildings. For example, if you want to upgrade a building from floor 1 to floor 2, now it's going to require data shards. But data shards are also used in a tech tree. So you kind of have an interesting strategic decision for yourself to make at that point, where should I spend them here and have a bigger output for this building and have more later? Or should I just use it now in a tech tree and have myself a new fancy toy to play with or
Yeah.
progress faster towards the goals? So that's actually interesting. So now by removing something, we reused another mechanic we have in the game, which creates a more interesting choice for a player. So it's a kind of like a cliche, but it's doing more with less, sort of.
Yeah, it actually does though, because I
Yeah.
think like choosing whether or not you, like you said, get a new toy compared to doing something is more, there's more weight behind that, I think, than just
Yeah.
like, can I afford this? So it does,
Yeah,
it makes it interesting.
it's like choosing between an investment and something right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the decision you're making at that point.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Um,
So now we're going to move on to like a different section, and I want to sort of talk and pick your brains a bit about the player experience and the flow of the game. So in general, what kind of player experience were you aiming for with the demo in particular?
well, the thing is, because Modulus introduces this new type of mechanic where you actually have to manipulate the shapes before you can see the result on your factory floor. I really wanted to focus on explaining that mechanic as well, so you kind of understand how this game ticks. So we put some effort in a decent tutorial and understanding this new mechanic. And once you kind of get into it and you understand that you're doing something because of a certain reason, and you come back to it and you realize you could do it in another way, you kind of start understanding the the infinity of this game actually. So you can do things in a multitude of different ways. And I really wanted to make sure that players understood this mechanic first before they can hopefully come to that realization that this game offers a lot of freedom. So there's no set recipes. You can do anything in any order and in any weird way you seems possible to you. So I really wanted to show like just the tip of the iceberg of where this game could go in terms of creativity. And yeah, mostly creativity, because we really believe it should be a Zen game and we should reward you for just experimenting with
Yeah.
stuff.
I think you nailed that though, because I genuinely had. I said to David before, we had a little meeting after I played the demo, and I was like, the satisfaction of like when you finally sort of nail the layout the way you want it is so satisfying and pleasing, and just like, it's a great feeling. So I literally can't wait to see what everyone else says, because I think they'll love that side of it, and I think you really nailed that in the demo. So next question is, was there a specific moment or feature you really wanted players to experience in the demo?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things in the game. There's a lot of stuff I'm proud of, but there's a few in particular where I'm really proud of. Um, and that's something that has to do with the building. So buildings in our game are kind of parts of your factory, but it's not the end goal. So basically, a building will produce something like cores or bots or processors that you will use in later buildings to create even more stuff. So basically, what happens is if you create a module, that those modules will actually be used in the building of that specific building. So there are the building blocks of that building, and it's not just like this artificial product that gets transformed magically into a building, but it's actually the building stones of that building. So you can see the buildings building up module by module as you go, and it's really satisfying to watch. and as I said before, like it's not the end point. So once the modules are going into the building will start producing something as well, and then there's an output back to your factory, which kind of serves a production line somewhere else in your factory as well. So yeah, I
It's
should really
really
proud
cool.
of on this
It
one.
is
Yeah,
cool. It looks
yeah.
great,
Also
and
from a
I'll
visual,
overlay it so
yeah,
people can see
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because it's harder to explain it than it is to see. So hopefully,
yeah,
whilst
yeah,
David was explaining that, I did some editing magic and you saw it happening.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it does. It's really unique because I don't think I've seen that in other games like this at all, and it's cool to see what you made making something else. Like it's really
Yeah,
nice. It's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
feeling. So how does progression work without the money in the game then?
Well, progression should be and is hopefully purely based on your building efforts. So the goal and the whole vision of Modulus is it's about the appreciation of building factories, architecture, seeing things come to life like a clockwork type of thing. Just we just want to reward that. So the goals of the game and the progression in the game should reflect that as well. So the end goal of Modulus is basically to build monuments, which is something we can still stay a bit of mysterious about, but it's kind of like an ultimate goal that is a massive building, which will require all of your engineering efforts to make it happen. But basically, you're working towards that point. It's your end goal. And basically, to get there, you need new tools, you need more land, you need to get better at making modules. You always need more and more and more.
Yeah.
So you'll have to support construction of these things with a massive factory with a lot of unlocks in a tech tree already, because you'll need some proper tools to do that. And yeah, I think everything is just basically what we're doing is we're rewarding progression, or we're rewarding you with progression the larger your factory gets and the more
Yeah.
efficient your factory gets, which what it should do in a factory automation genre, I think.
Yeah, I do too. It's a nice challenge as well because like the more you
Yeah.
think about how you place things, the more efficient your factory is going to be, and the faster you'll be able to do that. So, yeah, I think it's a really cool way of doing it. Okay, so the last segment of this is to look at the future of Modulus beyond the demo. So getting some good info out of you here for everybody. So how does the demo set up expectations for the full game?
Well, I hope that this demo experience will kind of open the minds of players to see what's possible with this game. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities here. It's a systems-based game, so I just want to like say that this is only the beginning. Modules will get more complex. Colors will be introduced. Just this voxel mechanic, we've like that's our core, right? So everything you do in the factory is super freeform. So um, there's so much we can do with it. So I'm very excited for that. It's a good system, so we can easily expand on it. And of course, the map in the demo, you just have 3 islands for now, but we're working on a massive map generator that will feature a very large map where you can have fun building massive factories, of course.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Okay, so are there features planned for the full release that couldn't make it into the demo that you want to elaborate on?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot. There's a new paint production system with new operator types. There's a rank system in there that's kind of tied to unlocking more space, so bigger territories. There's GNN delivery targets, which is basically the grand neural network pulling your sleeve and telling you they want more bots and
Right.
they're not easily pleased. You have module challenges. That's basically a mode that we kind of want to let our voxel system shine, our voxel automation system, so to speak. We really want to let it shine. So in order not to make it too complex for the base game, we're gonna introduce some optional challenges like module
Cool.
challenges. So make this specific module. And of course you get a reward for completing those. Yeah, there's purchasing new islands. There's a big tech tree with over 150 nodes in it.
Oh
There's
wow.
many new operators. There's upgraded operators. So you have Mark 1 right now in the demo, but you have Mark 2 and 3 as well, which will not only be faster, but also have a unique trait that you
Cool.
might want to use in specific situations. And then upgrades for all factory aspects, speed. You will have freight drones for inter island transport as well.
Oh,
It's kind of
nice.
like it's kind of like our version of trains, but then in a bit of a different way. You have chemical mixing and distribution. You have at least 4 or 5 new raw resources to put in the mix. What else? We have the research and data shards. We have a rework mechanic of upgrading buildings. And then, of course, we have cosmetics planned as well. So, kind of to make your factory more your own. So, not really
Oh, I
functional
like that.
buildings, but
That's
just
nice.
like if you want to make a really nice looking thing, we're planning on giving you some stuff for that as well. And then, of course, the monuments. I'm pretty excited for that. So these should be like the culmination of your factory work and result into a massive thing that is just like a big accomplishment, like a milestone for your progression. So there's a lot more coming. I'm probably forgetting stuff, but there's a lot more coming your way for sure.
That's exciting. I'm really excited about that. That's so much like yeah, that's going to be fun. Okay, so I've got 2 more for you. So, what is one thing that you are most excited for players to experience when the full game launches?
For me, that there's 2 things that I'm really excited about. So the first thing is the tech tree. I'm really excited to to have this in the game because I'm a big fan of a well-designed tech tree myself because it will kind of give you something to work towards to on like a short term. So you
Yeah,
can kind of decide what you want to get and then work for it and then get something new to play with. It keeps the game fresh on a short term interval kind of thing. I think, I'm really excited for that. And that's still that's still a bit under, we're still deciding on how it should look, but of course, this game allows you to be very creative. So we want to allow you to be more creative and give you the tools to be very creative. So we're probably going to work on something like a creative mode or a sandbox. Not sure when that's dropping, but that's definitely something I wanna have give players that they can actually make whatever they want because you can do it in this game. So
that's
should
exciting.
yeah.
I can't wait to see what this community ends up making. It's going to be
Yeah,
really
me too.
fun. We've already had, like, in the playtest, I've
Yeah.
gone back through the screenshots and seen people making, like, giraffes and Among Us characters and just, like, all sorts. So,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. That'll be fun. And then the last question is, what kind of feedback from the demo will be most valuable for shaping the final game? So how can people help, basically?
Um, well, I'm mostly worried about like complexity and balancing of this game. So I think when the demo drops, it's already gonna tell us something. But as I said before, we're doing a lot of play tests and we're really looking forward to hear your feedback about it. And we just want to make this a smooth experience. So I'm curious and I'm really looking forward to see how hardcore players will get with this mechanic and if we should support that more
Yep.
or maybe not get too complicated or something. So that's something that's gonna be interesting for me to see. And also, I think purely visual and just the way that we don't punish you for doing something wrong or in a different way. I think this game might attract some more people that are curious to the factory genre, but not really like hardcore fans. I think it has a nice mix, although it can get really deep, so we're not disappointing the hardcore fans
Yeah.
either. But I think just from its visual style as well and the creative aspect to it, it might appeal to other people as well outside of this core genre or core target audience. Um, yeah, and then of course the tutorial is going to be crucial. We're going to keep fine tuning it.
Yeah.
So because it's really important in this type of game that you understand what you're doing. So we need to teach you the basics in order
Yeah.
so you can have like a lot of fun with it.
And
Yeah.
so we want to know basically from the demo, like, are people getting it? Do you understand? Is
Yeah.
there anything
Yeah.
we can improve on with
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
tutorial sort of thing?
Yeah.
So that people who, like you just said, who maybe aren't used to this genre can easily onboard into the game and get it. So if you're one of those people, let us know how you found the experience. Like, was the tutorial something that really helped you? Was there areas that you needed support on? Like, we want to know. It's the best thing you can do for indie teams. When there's a demo, give us your feedback. And there's lots of ways you can do that. So you can leave a review on the demo page. You can hop in our Discord and chat to us over there. We'll have a survey, or you can chat to us in the Steam Community Hub. Wherever you want to be, we will be listening. But yeah, thank you very much for taking time out of your ridiculously busy day, David. I really enjoyed that chat. I'm sure everybody else did as well. And yeah, we hope you all really enjoyed the demo. We're excited. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do drop it a like. And if there's anything we didn't answer that you'd like to know, leave your questions in the comments below. See you in the next one. Bye.